All right, let's begin with the fact that Notre Dame football, of course, has started spring practice on Thursday. The media was in watching practice. And last week, there were some notable visitors to Notre Dame practice. Who was here to watch the Fighting Irish?
Yeah, not going to go down, Darren, as one of the bigger visitor weeks, or excuse me, visitor dates for the Irish, but kind of low key impactful for the Fighting Irish. Two new walk ons commits for the Irish who visited this past Thursday. Got Max Hurlman. He is a running back, kind of slot receiver, special teams guy from Colgate. He's got 1 year of eligibility. He's walking onto the Fighting Irish football program. So again, that's Max Hurlman. You got a young man from Minnesota named Robbie Wolin, who's a preferred walk-on offensive lineman in the 2024 class, who had some Division I looks. He picked Notre Dame, I believe, this past Friday, if my memory serves me correct. So a couple strong walk-ons for the Irish. You had Owen Strebig on campus, who's a Notre Dame offensive tackle, commits in the 2025 class, a big-time four-star player. Really good for him to check out a practice, is his first time back since committing to Notre Dame a few weeks ago. Again, it's always good for the commits to come back to campus to kind of remind themselves why they picked the Irish initially, especially for someone like Strebig, who's from the state of Wisconsin. You would imagine the Badgers are going to keep contacting him for a while until they're literally not allowed to anymore. So it's good for him to get back to Notre Dame. Couple of 2026 linebackers the Irish are looking at, Grant Bierman and Cam Thomas, both from Lakota West, which is where the Irish signed safety Ben Minnick from, and another safety and Tayron Benny Powell, who's arriving this summer. So Notre Dame's looking at a couple of those guys. And then Darren, later in our interview, we're going to talk about Pot of Gold Day, which is when Notre Dame's going to offer a handful of players. When I say handful, it's a little bit more than that. In the 2026 class, 3 guys to keep an eye on, all visited this past Thursday for practice. You got Joey O'Brien from Pennsylvania, a cornerback or safety, 6'4", 190 pounds, going to his junior year is what he's listed at. I kind of hear like that some folks in South Bend think that he's got a play style similar to a certain safety who plays for the Baltimore Ravens right now. Not saying he's Kyle Hamilton, just like, they kind of get those vibes in terms of play style. Mikael Blade from Illinois, a defensive end. And then actually Dominic Kelly, the cornerback from Tampa, he got his offer when he was on campus. So Dominic Kelly got his offer from Notre Dame. Think the Irish are going to be big players there. And then Mikael Blade, I mean, you're talking about, a kid from Illinois. Notre Dame's always going to be a contender there. For the most part, that's typically the case. And then Joey O'Brien, I think Notre Dame's a pretty early contender there. So again, Darren, wasn't like this big star-studded recruiting day, but when you go down the list, you're like, okay, it's definitely got some players who their recruitments might end up trending towards the Irish.
Does it turn out to be a big recruiting day, or the guys are there, the coaches talk to them a little bit? Is it more low key?
I mean, it's not some big junior day,
Right.
but it's, tours, staff meetings, maybe sometimes the recruits get to sit into the position meetings.
There you go. Okay.
These guys meet with Marcus Freeman for sure. But, it's kind of like game day where you come to Notre Dame, you talk to the coaches, you do some different things, but, the trip is centered around seeing practice or seeing the game. It's kind of like that with practice. Like the trip centered around seeing practice, getting to watch your position, your position coach in action. So yeah, that's kind of what it's centered around.
Okay. Mike Singer, Notre Dame football recruiting insider, Blue and Gold Illustrated, blueandgold.com, joining me on WSBT Radio. Let's talk about 2025 cornerback Tristan Haynes. He's starting to list some schools. How is Notre Dame faring in his recruitment?
Yeah, also writing about him Tuesday night in my Lucky Charms article. So a 4-star, 6'2" cornerback from Midwest City, Oklahoma, announced a top 6 group Tuesday: Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Miami, and Oklahoma. One of those schools is not like the other in terms of you got a bunch of, SEC country schools. And then, Miami, down there in the Sunshine State, and then you got Notre Dame up in the Midwest. So Haynes has not visited Notre Dame yet. That is the next big step. From what I'm being told, the Irish staff has had really good Zoom calls with him. They feel like he's a Notre Dame kid. It's just a matter of getting him up on campus. And if the Irish are able to do that, it would be a pretty big deal. So Oklahoma definitely looks to be the leader right now in the recruitment. It's the in-state school. He's been there a few different times, not been able to get to Notre Dame again. But I don't know. This is one, Darren, where I think Notre Dame fans need to keep an eye on Tristan Haynes. If you see myself or someone else report, hey, he's coming up to campus for a visit, he's got that date locked in, think that would be a good development for the Irish. And before we move on to anything else, Darren, I wanted to talk about just the cornerback board in general for Notre Dame in the 2025 class, because it's a spot that we've been talking about a lot lately. Just one commit right now in Cree Thomas, comes from the same high school as Ben Morrison, in at Phoenix Brophy Prep. But when you look down the list, there's just tons of different guys we can talk about that Notre Dame's it seems to be in pretty good position with. Mark Zachary, we talk about a ton. Darren, from Indy. Ben Davis, he's visiting campus in a couple weeks. I think the Irish are in the lead for him. Dallas Golden from Tampa Berkeley Prep, Notre Dame, Clemson has seemed like the battle for him. You've got you got Florida State, Florida. Some of the in-state schools are definitely in the thick of it. Georgia. We'll see how things progress with him and the Bulldogs, but I think it's a Notre Dame Clemson battle. Chuck McDonald's, and these are all highly ranked, highly targeted recruits. Chuck McDonald from Mater Dei. Notre Dame hasn't landed a player from Mater Dei, which is year in and year out one of the top high school football programs in the country. Notre Dame has landed a kid from there in forever. I don't know the last time Notre Dame landed a player there. They're getting Chuck McDonald, a 4-star corner on campus. We just talked about Tristan Haynes. Tariq Hayer's a cornerback who Notre Dame's recruiting. Jameer Joseph from St. Joseph Regional in Montvale, New Jersey. Notre Dame signed Audric Estime from that school. He's going to take an official visit to campus this summer. So, and then lastly, Trey McNutt listed as a safety. Notre Dame likes him at corner. And he's visiting in April, as we first reported at Blue and Gold. So tons of names on that corner board, Darren. Notre Dame's got to start landing some of these guys. And, we're in March right now. You would think by July, we'll have a whole different view on Notre Dame's cornerback board, whether it's they got some of these guys or maybe they're going to have to circle to new targets. We'll have to see.
Do you have a number in mind you'd like to see the Irish pick up of the cornerback position in 25?
Yeah, 3. I think they should get to 3 corners. They've got 2 safeties, and they possibly could get to 3. But I think for corner, they should get to 3 total. You got you have Cree Thomas committed, and I think right now, if I had to guess, I think that Mark Zachary and Dallas Golden join them. But if that were the case, and then Jameer Joseph wants to hop in or something like that, they would have a pretty good problem on their hands. And I just get the sense, Darren, that Notre Dame is in a position where they want to take as many talented players as they possibly can, which I know Notre Dame fans are thinking, yeah, go do that. But Notre Dame also can't just, take 80 guys in this class. They have real scholarship numbers to figure out. The sense, though, is that Notre Dame is not going to take as many portal players this upcoming season. So they're going to load up a little bit more on the high school side of things. Always to be determined, but a little nugget to throw out there for you guys.